we have a very special guest. His name is Mao Lin Liao. He is the CEO and founder of REBLIKA. He's one extraordinary example of someone that has a very interesting vision for his company. So I'm going to read a little bit about who he is, and based on everything that you can find in the internet. And of course, he will introduce himself also and tell us who he is. So REBLIKA, it's about a unique experience, and it's an image-changing concept focused on providing avatar and 3D scanning service to delivering a unique and the best-in-class digital humans. That's basically what REBLIKA is, but there is something very important. Mao would like to be the #1 character company in the world one day. Now, that date, he's going to talk to us about that. So, Mao, thank you for being here. Why don't you tell us about who you are?
First, thank you, Victor and Stephanie, for inviting me. I'm really proud to be part of this podcast. But digital human is something that keeps me busy for a very long time. And if I have to go back in time to tell you how I started the company and why I'm doing that, it's actually not that long time ago. I've been actually working in this field for more than 20 years. And I've been working in the game industry as well. Like games like Horizon and Killzone for PlayStation is where my background is. I also work on movies with Jackie Chan in the past. So after working more than 20 years, I feel like it's time for something new, something that I haven't done before. And I was really looking at my skill set. What am I good at, and how can I leverage that skill set? And I realized that people really like what I'm good in designing characters and faces, and become pretty good at that. So then I think about what is the hardest thing to do in CGI these days, because we can make beautiful water simulation, can make the most incredible world, but creating and crafting human is still something we cannot really have a right formula to do it. Everyone does it differently, and sometimes when it's executed not in a most perfect way, it will feel a bit uncanny, and hence the name Uncanny Valley. So with that mindset, I thought, okay, let's set that as a goal for my company to solve that problem. And hopefully, I know I put a date on my LinkedIn, and I know that's really tough, but I strongly believe that in 5 years from now, we can solve the problem by really kind of studying the human behavior, the faces, not only on the anatomical side and the visual side, but also something deeper. But that's basically what my vision is. Yeah.
Great. So, but why 3D avatar creation, Mao? Why leaning all your experience and all your skills towards that?
I think that's a very good question. I think, Victor, the problem is when you see people creating avatars, there's two sides. There's a technical side and a visual side. Some people are really good in designing the face, but then when they need to talk and move, it just totally breaks. And then you have people who are really into the conversational bot and making really AI bots responding, but it looks horrible. So you need someone both technical and artistic to combine together. And because I don't think it requires half of your left or right brain. No, it has to be both efforts. And that's why it's so hard.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. And it seems like you have both skills, and you consider are very proficient in both skills, technical and artistic.
Indeed, and maybe Stephanie wants to say something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, just a question. It caught my attention that you were working with Jackie Chan, movies with Jackie Chan, or with a producer in Jackie Chan, or
I work on because I actually didn't go deep enough in my background. I used to work as an environment artist as well. I would look deaf lighting artist. I work as a character supervisor. But during my years of creating environment, was back in 2000. I did a film called Around the World in 80 Days. And that is a very special film for me because I got a chance to work on a Jackie Chan movie, right? He's one of my biggest idols in the movie industry. And I even got a chance to meet him in real life in Los Angeles.
So these real-time digital humans empowered by Unreal Engine, what is the future with these new benchmarks that are taking power in the entertainment and technological market? And do you see, Mao, that this evolving will be a better opportunity for Unreal Engine users, or what will be the new next generation jobs as well?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I have to say, when it was announced, I was a bit afraid that it would bring us, a lot of trouble, meaning bring us out of jobs, because people might have the idea that creating a digital human is going to be so easy that everyone can do it. Of course, that is with Epic's tool. I think we have to see MetaHuman more like a tool, just like Maya, just like Max, like or Cinema 4D, as a tool that empower you to create things better. So now, instead of you spending a lot of time on the technical side, you can actually spend more time on the maybe creative side and make creating actors and people faster, and then don't think about the technical side, which is about rigging and simulation that gives you so much trouble, right? Yeah. So I think that is how we should see the evolution of MetaHuman. I don't think it's perfect yet. It still has some. For example, one thing I really like to see is how close can I configure the face to match my face. And I think MetaHuman has some limited number of blend shades or controls. Yeah. So it's not perfect. It will be maybe one day, but definitely not going to replace us for now.
Yeah, that's true. That's a battle that I have been realizing while I was, because I am also a 3D artist. So I understand that kind of situations of, there will be many replacements in the future, but no, there will be evolving jobs, new evolving jobs in the future. None will be replacing us, because at the end it's a machine. You are the one who is the creator. You are the one to have all of this in your head, and you will create something. And the machine will do what you will do, I will ask the machine to do.
Exactly. If you take out all the technical part out of the equation, then what would you do? Would you focus more on the look, more on styling the hair? Maybe on the script. You are to become a director and less as a executioner, right?
Exactly, that's true.
That's interesting.
I also.
Mao,
continue.
Please go ahead, Stephanie. Go ahead.
Well, I was wondering, because what was the passion, or what was that feeling or that seed that you have inside to create and to say, because I asked from what I saw on LinkedIn, from all of the experience that you have since, because you were a 3D artist and you were evolving in each step, what was the seed that really told you, I really want to make my own business, that entrepreneurial seed that not everyone has, and you have it, and you begin to evolve it, begin to place it?
Another very good question. I have to say I didn't prepare for this, but I can tell you that I think I'm always like I'm not say perfectionistic, but I'm striving for the best quality. That's why I think I'm pushing to the limit what we can do with Maya and in the software. But above that, my entrepreneurship actually started like in 2013. So when I was still a freelance artist, I created a picture called Alex, which is the blonde lady you see on my website and on my LinkedIn. So she became really a phenomenon on the internet. It went viral, even so viral that even Playboy, the magazine, asked me to make her fully naked. I said, no, thank you. I do not want to enter that area. But I was very flattering to know that people are like her so much. And after that, I realized that I can really, mean something to the world. Maybe I can create something unique. And then after that, my ex-boss in Dubai called me, asked me to join the team and start a company with him. So and lead the entire 3D team. So before 2013, I had no experience leading a team or have planned to become manager. But I thought, since someone asked me, so why not try? So before I was actually spending more than 3 years in Dubai, managing a team of 14 people. and starting department, rigging, modeling, texturing, lighting. And we work on films and stuff. So that's where I really get to know how should I talk to people, how should I communicate effectively, how can I convey my message, and also dealing with all the headaches around managing people. Because, to be honest, we're all artists, we know how artists are. But I thought if I can, what I try to do in my style of managing is how do I want to treat people the way like to be treated, So meaning give them some space to make error, give them some really constructive feedback, when they need it, support them as much as I can, and then hopefully they will thrive one day if they stay long enough with us. So that become really the foundation of my entrepreneurship. And after I came back to Holland, where I'm living right now, I've been doing a couple of more small jobs. But after I soon realized I need to start my own business and use the knowledge that I learned from Dubai and apply it on my own company. Yeah.
That's a very interesting story.
Wow, I love the story.
Thank you.
Well, why don't we jump into the avatar creation? When you create something related to 3D image, or specifically an avatar, is your goal to provide the sense of immersion between the spectator or player or the virtual reality, if it is not the gaming industry, or are you trying to catch the attention toward realism of different types of being, or is it something else?
Yeah, I had to tell another funny story. When I make characters, it was that my wife challenged me because I've been always making monsters and an old man, and she asked me, why you always make old ugly men and monsters, like typical all the artists are doing these days, or fan art. I said, why don't you make a beautiful lady? Because I said, yeah, it's very hard to be very subtle, making someone who does not exist and also look like real. That's very hard to do. Versus if you make a old man or a monster, you can exaggerate the wrinkles and the proportion. No one will care. No one will say that, right? So that is actually made me wondering, okay, let's take the challenge. And that's how I create Alex, the girl. I took 1 month off, don't do any projects, and actually did it as a personal project. And then I realized that it was very, very hard to become, to look at yourself in an honest way, meaning criticize yourself. Imagine if you look at your work, like, this is not good. Basically ask you to go outside your body experience and say, look at this guy, what is he doing? Is he doing good? No, or good. So how I actually work a lot is actually I use a mirror. So with a mirror, I can always flip the image without having to go to Photoshop. So I always check, okay, then that actually really reset the image, and make me feel like, okay, this can be improved, this can be improved. So I've been training myself to become really disciplined and criticize my own work, and also don't be shy to ask my wife or someone in the neighborhood to say, hey, what do you think of this? So all the experience combined made me realize that we're not there yet to create talking a realistic human, because there's a lot of layers that needs to be corrected to create the most. There's two kind of realism, right? You have photorealism. That means if you have a picture, real, perfectly fine. That's something you, me, we can do that with the right tools and right time. But when you start to talk, oh my God, that is, and the emotion side of things, the amount of complexity of your face, the muscles, So I can tell you something like the muscles is not moving linear, but all the facial animations is moving linear way. Well, there's actually a delay in how the muscle moves. Just like when you contract, it's not static. It actually has some delay. If you study slow motion footage, also your eyes, how it's actually very fluid. So these are the things we don't put in because we don't see it in close up. We only see it far away, right? So people are just like you're basically in the real world. There's no FPS, frames per second, right? There's no everything's fluent. But in our computer world, to make it more computational, we limit the frame rate 24 from 25, and maybe in real time 60 FPS. But in real life, there's no FPS. So why should we work with FPS? So that's a fundamental problem with our industry. We work with FPS. We should not think in FPS. We should have the most fluent thing. And unless we rewrite our software like Maya and other things and other DCC, we will never get that realism. So yeah, we actually already work with people from South America. Like we have really talented people from Brazil and Colombia. So I think there's a lot of talent in the region. So that's definitely not the problem. And then if we talk about the resources, limited resources that some country might not have, if I have to compare with what we had in the time that I started learning, I started with a computer that doesn't have a video card. And then when we started learning 3D, the time was back in '97. I saw the movie called Jurassic Park, that you might know. So for me, I was so obsessed with the movie that I tried to learn everything I could possibly get into my head, reading about how they created the dinosaurs. So I started to realize that I use a software called Sofimage, and then I started to know the whole 3D silicon graphics and the whole hardware needed. But I had just a PC, okay? But I learned, I started 3D with basically not using Maya or anything. I started 3D using something called like a very simple model, like a VRML editor. VRML is a virtual reality markup language, which is the predecessor of any WebGL, and it's actually a really simple modeling tool. But that's where you have to be creative, right? When you have limited resources. So I don't think people should be demotivated by limited resources or anything. I think creativity really has no limit. And even the computer now these days, your laptop is probably better than the computer I had back then. So that should not be stop you from doing the right thing.
That's true. Yeah, actually, I think when you have limited resources, or you're in a situation in your life that you are like, you feel you can do anything, that's the point where you are more creative.
Yes.
I have that thought.
Yeah, it's just like a painter. When you have a painter, you give him all the colors of the world. He will not know where to start. He will be, what am I going to do today? Oh my God, I have so much choice. Just like if you have a menu card, you have so many food to choose from. Where do you start?
Exactly.
Right? If you limit someone, you drive in certain limits, and then you actually make a decision with limited resources will be much better. And then just like food, if you try out different tastes of dishes and things, then you start to realize, oh, actually, I like eating strawberry. So I create my menu based on strawberry. Just like art, you like hard surface modeling, you discover hard surface modeling, you go deeper and deeper, and you become an expert in that. So in the early stage, I really recommend everyone to try everything out to see where they have passion for, and then develop from there.
Well, Mao, I think we are coming at the end of the podcast. Do you want to share any final thought to all those students that are trying to get into the world of Unreal Engine?
Yeah, there's although I'm from the game and also for the film, my Unreal knowledge is limited compared to other people who is working in my team who know way more. I say, just like we said before, I think there's really no limit in what you can do with Unreal, and your skill set is really limited by your imagination. So try a lot of new things, and also different software as much as possible. And don't be blinded by one software or anything. Yeah, would be my advice.
Well, excellent. Mao, we would like to thank your time and the time to take your experience to this level of communication with everybody that is listening and watching this podcast. People, we've been with Mao Lin Liao, the CEO and founder of REBLIKA. So take a look at this. I think it'll be very interesting to see all the work that Mao has and enjoy it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mao.
Thank you, Mao. Thank you for the time.